am back out and trying to run it again. I put a little more gas in it just in case that was the issue. And I also loosened up my my CAS, which is your cam angle sensor. So I got that loosened up to try to dial in and see if my issue was either fuel or CAS. And it does actually rev up now, which is, that's something compared to last time. I've still got a mad ticking sound going on, and I'm not sure if that's, yeah, it sounds like it's actually just lifters, but that's pretty loud, so I should probably look into that before I rev it up too much and find out what's causing the lifter tick. Hopefully not something that's going to tear my lifters apart or my camshaft. So anyway, I did get this dialed in, and it does rev up now, so we're getting there. We're getting there. So it seems to be like the smoke is pretty white, which means it's probably running pretty rich. That's another thing I'll have to look into before I really start hounding on this thing and actually drive it. But I'm happy I'm getting somewhere. Here's something that's important that I didn't actually notice before. Part of the reason why the car was dying, I think, when I was inside the car trying to give it gas is because, as you can see at the throttle cable up there, there's a little bit of play before it actually kicks in and does anything. So more likely than not, it was dumping fuel in without actually getting any extra air, which is what was causing it to die. So I'll have to adjust that, as well as the other myriad problems that I've encountered. So because my car has been sitting for so long, and because I switched my fan out, basically all I have left of the old wiring is this mess here. We ended up having to hardwire a fan in previously, because I think the fan that came with the car was dead when we got it. So right now, I've just got these lovely wires running straight from the battery over to the plug on the fan, and that's what I was using to test to see how it... how I'm supposed to make this thing work. So now that I've got that figured out, I can wire it up, I guess. It's not going to look pretty unless I can actually find a plug, but that was really the last thing I had keeping me from actually really running this thing, besides a brake line that's coming in, well, it's supposed to be coming in next week, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully this thing will actually be on the road soon. We'll see. Well, as you can hear, it's still running like shit, but an improvement. You can see that there's finally smoke coming off of that other exhaust runner, so it is firing. I don't know what kept it from firing previously. The only change I made was dumping a bunch more gas in, because I kind of assumed that possibly it was a gas issue. And now that that other cylinder's firing, my exhaust has cleaned up quite a bit. There's no longer any white leftover, basically unburnt fuel spraying out, so that's nice. Still runs like shit, but that's something I'll have to work on as I, kind of get it closer to actually going on the road. So, hooray! Now I think it runs on all 4 cylinders! So you can see, as I was mentioning before, that all 4 of the runners have actually baked off most of their fancy exhaust paint. You can see how nice and shiny it is back there, but here's what it looks like when it bakes off. I won't lie, that's a little bit disappointing, because I was hoping it would stay nice and shiny, but yeah, what are you gonna do? At least the damn thing runs. If, slightly shoddily, should I say. You can see that it's warming up fine, and it's dripping out excess coolant, because I just filled up the coolant before running it, so I don't know what level it actually stays at to operate. One thing, while I had the car running, I was not able to figure out, I was trying to use a probe here, just to kind of test and see which of these wires I need to hook up to what on that fan, because I know what runs the fan, I just don't know what it comes from the harness. So I'll have to actually just do some research or look at the factory service manual. I was hoping I could just use a probe to figure it out quick, but once I figure that out, I'll at least have a fan to keep cooling down, and hopefully I won't be dripping coolant once that level gets figured out. Then I just need to figure out why it's running like shit, which could be any of a million reasons because it's a DSM. So, another little update. I was going to go ahead and run to the internet to just figure all this out, but I decided, I'll just hook it up to the battery and see what happens. So, turns out this is the ground, on my car anyway. This is my main power. This seems to, as you can hear, control the relay, and then I'm guessing this is just a ground dedicated to the relay? I assume? I don't really know. But yeah, so I made a couple sparks fly and figured it all out, so now I can wire it up. Gonna have to figure out how exactly I'm gonna do the whole relay thing, but I at least know what one needs to have the main ground and what one needs to have the main power to make the fan run. So that's something. I suppose I could always just put a switch on the relay and toggle that on and off myself, but I'm pretty lazy, so maybe I'll actually try to figure out how to do it rather than have to do it every time I want to turn it on, because then I have to remember to turn it off, and yeah, seems like a lot of work. Boost leak testing time. I've assembled a nice little boost leak tester with a, I think it's 2" by 2", or 2" in, 2" out, sorry, piece of PVC squishiness that is usually used as a bridge between hard pieces. And then I got a 2" cap, and there's a little piece of PVC in here that this cap is glued to. Then I just tied it on here, drilled a hole in it, and put a nice little valve stem in there. Over here, since I'm not close to the garage, I've got a tank full of a little over 40 pounds of pressure. I'm not actually going to put that much in, and the tank leaks, and so I put a little bit more in it. But I'm going to put this on there, fill it up with probably about, I don't know, 10-20 pounds. Should be enough to actually tell me where my leak is if I have one. And then, once I fix that, theoretically, that'll fix my idling surge. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wasting my time. Maybe life is just a waste of time. Boost leak identified. Or vacuum leak. Well, in this case, boost leak. So as I pressurize this, you can start to hear a hissing noise over this away. Yeah, you can kind of hear that, hopefully on the camera. But it's also pretty easy to see that there's a little bulge there, and I'm not sure if that's just because of the way that fastener is manufactured. It's one of the ones that came with the kit, which is kind of a bummer, so I'll have to look at maybe if it's the angle that this is at, or just if the fastener itself kind of leaves a bit to be desired. But that's probably number one in the myriad amount of vacuum leaks I'm sure to find. So I'll fix that and then repressurize again and see where we stand.